Yay Media Group.
13 has been my lucky number for a while. Like, it's always a sign of good things to come for me.
This is 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast, breaking down every song, every Easter egg, every era, and every theory. Hosted by the biggest Swifties, Nick Adams, Anna Zabo, Amy Nichols, and Lacey G.
Welcome to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. My name's Nick Adams.
I'm Anna.
Amy.
And I'm Lacey G.
And today we are going to break down track number 28, Peter, written by Taylor Swift.
All alone.
Solo.
Solo.
It was produced, though, by Aaron Dessner. So it still has a little bit of a
touch.
Aaron Dessner feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Peter, track number 28. The end is near, everybody.
It is.
Because there are 31 tracks.
That's
on
crazy.
This album.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Who loves this song? Me.
I
Me.
do.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Love this song.
Now, when we're talking Peter, I'm always thinking
Peter
of
Griffin.
Oh.
What did you say?
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin.
No.
Like as a standalone, Peter. That's who I would think of.
Oh, if not talking about the song. Just
Not-
if someone said Peter, you'd think of Peter Griffin.
Because I don't know a Peter personally.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone was just going to say Peter, like I'm supposed to know who it is, then Peter Griffin.
I don't know a Peter either. Has
I don't-
anyone? Surely I've met a Peter.
My stepdad
I
is a
can't-
Peter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not legally, but we call him Pete. Peter Rabbit. His nickname was Peter Rabbit when he was a kid and turned into Pete.
That's cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I know a Peter. Except Peter the pilot. I don't know him.
From The Bachelor fame.
Yeah, and then
Right.
he was on Traders. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I got to know more there, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
But that's not a Peter.
Mm-mm.
No, I think of Peter Pan.
Ah.
I'm thinking of Peter.
There we go.
Ah,
Forgive me,
That-
Peter, my
How
lost
did we
fearless
miss that
leader.
one?
I think of Peter Pan.
Of course.
Does anybody else think of Peter Pan?
Of course.
With
Peter
the song,
Pan.
yes.
With this song, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And when the album came out, I didn't know that Peter Pan syndrome is like an actual thing. It's the popular psychology term used to describe an adult who is socially immature or just refuses to grow up. It refers to never growing adults who have reached an adult age but cannot face their adult sensations and adult responsibilities.
Like an adult skateboarding, Peter. I don't know. So it's like, I don't know. Should adults skateboard? Unless you're Tony Hawk.
Should
performing.
adults skateboard?
Performing.
Let's talk about that.
If you're a professional skateboarder, I guess. But if I'm just seeing some 40-year-old dude in my neighborhood skateboarding, I think, is that weird? Is that weird? Am I being too judgy?
It's just not wanting to change.
Yeah.
Not wanting for things to change, their life
Yeah.
to change.
It's okay to have joys in life if something makes you happy, but it's not okay to be stubborn and refuse to move forward in life.
Right.
And that's
Sure.
what this is.
And to just grow up at some
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Right.
Take responsibility. I mean, we
Yes.
don't want to grow up, but we have to. And
Yes.
at some point, if you don't, then that's just sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Maturing is not always fun, but you got to at some point in your life. And is that what she's going through right now with someone who needs to man up, grow up?
Hell,
Yeah.
waking up every day isn't fun, but we
Sounds
still
like
do
it.
it.
I know. So Taylor starts off by saying, "Forgive me, Peter, my lost fearless leader, in closets like cedar, preserved from when we were just kids."
It's just crazy that right off the bat, he's the one that refuses to grow up, and
Mhm.
she's the one that's apologizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's apologizing for him not being there for her. Like, that's right out the gate.
And she says, "Forgive me, Peter, my lost fearless leader." I don't know if she's saying my fearless leader sarcastically or not, but to what you're saying, Anna, the leader of this group, this relationship, the leader is not mature enough to apologize. And still the subject, the follower, the person who's along for the ride is the one who's apologizing,
Yeah.
but not the leader.
Peter Pan was the leader of the Lost Boys
Totally.
in Neverland. And I would say that he was the leader of her heart
Mhm.
in the situation.
Does this make Taylor Wendy?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
In this song.
In this song?
In the context of the song, yes, because she's like, because even in the story of Peter Pan and Wendy, like Wendy does grow up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in this situation, Taylor is Wendy, where she got wrapped up in basically the magic of Peter, of this person. But eventually she had to both return home and just kind of like return back to reality of it, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think inspired this song? I feel like that's important context to this.
You know, I've heard people point to her short-lived relationship with Matty Healy. He's the boy who never grew up. He just wanted to be the wild, crazy rock star thrown up on stage every night. That he's not moving on past this phase in his life. Hey, you're in your 30s, dude. Let's grow up. Let's have a real relationship, and let's see where this goes. That's what she wanted. He didn't.
Yeah, the 1989 time frame, 10 years ago, whenever all the promises were made, you know, getting the right timing, you know,
Like
when growing up, you know, getting there. He's not going to get there.
Yeah, the right person, wrong time
Yeah.
situation. Also, when they did have that short-lived little fling back then, he was 25, which we later hear in the song. And then also the 1975, the band that Matty Healy's in, before they were the 1975, they were Drive Like I Do. And there are some really, really great Drive Like I Do songs. Like, I have a t-shirt that says Drive Like I Do. I was a big fan. Really cool. But when they were Drive Like I Do, before they were the 1975, they have a song called Lost Boys.
Okay.
Which I think is also an interesting tie into this situation, the whole imagery of it all. Coincidence, maybe, potentially, or more. Yeah.
And also in closets like cedar preserved from when we were just kids, that's significant because the wood on cedar lasts forever. There's like temples that were made out of it. So cedar closets were used to cedar closets were used because they're protective qualities that cause stuff in them being stored to never age. So that's just another reference to you're not allowed to grow up. I've had all these back in cedar closets.
Yeah. That's good.
Have you ever been in a cedar closet? They smell so good.
They do.
They do smell
way
good.
better than mothballs.
Yeah, mothballs, a regular gross closet. But yeah, cedar closet. Yeah, there's something different about being in a cedar closet. You can tell it's preserving whatever's in there. And again, Taylor, not the leader of this relationship, the fearless leader's not apologizing. Taylor's asking, is it something I did?
That's so sad.
Okay, there's a problem that's wrong right now. Did I do it? Was it me?
Was it me?
Like, you were always the default person that did something wrong.
Yeah, like you told me that one day we would be together and then we're not. Like, is it something I did?
The goddess of timing once found us beguiling. All right, we're going to need to go to a dictionary.
Beguiling,
Beguiling.
is charming or enchanting, but often in a deceptive way.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, she thought they were cute, but still suspicious. Like, I don't think that this is going to turn out well.
Yeah. Yeah, the goddess of time. The goddess of timing once found us beguiling. She said she was trying. Peter, was she lying?
That's so poetic.
The goddess of timing. Was she lying, Peter?
Was she lying? Were we not captivating?
Right. And like Anna was saying, there was this on again, off again. Maybe we'll date at some point down the road. It just never matched up. So the goddess of timing was playing with them here. But
which
was
also,
she lying to us this whole time?
Right. Which
Peter?
also makes it seem like, oh, it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It must be something else.
Yeah. True.
You know, it's this other power. It's this other goddess of timing. Was she lying? Was it not meant to happen? Not because we're not good together, but because of the timing of it. You know.
And also, the my ribs have a feeling she did. Why ribs? Is that because of biblical references where Adam got a rib taken out for Eve? Or someone pointed out that she said ribs instead of core or heart because the ribs perform vital functions in our body, such as protecting organs and supporting the breathing process. So maybe she feels like it's suddenly hard to breathe now that this is happening, or that's just another way of saying she was trying to protect herself from something that's going to happen. She knew that it was wrong and still went ahead with it.
I do get that.
It's also weird that she says ribs because I feel like I'm used to the phrase like I had a gut feeling. Like my gut is feeling the goddess of timing was lying, you know.
Well,
so why rib?
I also read that the rib cage in the human body continues to change throughout adulthood. And so for males, the rib cage increases slightly from like 20 to 30 years old. So by Taylor mentioning that Peter was 25, it's like she was growing up and he wasn't. Like my ribs are growing while yours aren't. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like I felt it, like by saying like I felt it in my ribs, it's like I can feel myself aging while you're not. Not like aging like whatever, but
growing up.
There's an imagery of it.
Yeah, it's the imagery of like I'm growing up and you're not.
Yeah.
Or maybe she just wanted to sing about her favorite piece of barbecue, because the rib is my favorite piece of
It
barbecue.
is delicious.
It is good.
Add it to the list, Anna.
What's Taylor's favorite piece of barbecue?
Favorite piece of barbecue. Hold on, let
What
me
is
pull it
everyone
up.
else's?
It's 75% of the questions is food related, and I
Yeah.
just don't know if I can handle all this, guys.
It's a lot of
I
food
didn't
questions.
want to
True.
know her favorite rib. I just wanted to know if she's ever been inspired by barbecue to include that.
It's funny because the previous question is, do you have serving tongs in your kitchen?
What's
can't
everyone's
with this.
What's everyone's favorite piece of barbecue? Are we
Oh, I
pulled
thought you were
pork,
gonna do
brisket,
Kitchen utensil.
I do
Amy?
like the brisket.
brisket?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And does sausage count?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's all about the sauces and spices for
Yeah,
me.
that's very
Oh,
true.
Okay.
I don't really care what the meat is, as long as the sauces and spices make my mouth happy.
Mm-hmm. Lacey, do you have a favorite piece of barbecue?
Just the one with the least amount of fat. I
Okay.
don't like all the fat stuff.
A
so.
lean cut.
To go back to the goddess of timing, I also read that somebody was saying it could also be a tie-in to Tinkerbell. If you go back to the Peter and Wendy story, because Tinkerbell was often portrayed as mischievous and unpredictable, and she played a significant role in guiding Peter and the Lost Boys. And so if you were to take that in of like, okay, there is this other little creature, fairy, that's guiding him somewhere that's like away from me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would kind of love a song about that.
About
About
Tinkerbell?
Tinkerbell?
Yeah.
Tinkerbell's perspective?
Tinkerbell's motives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
TS12. You heard it here first.
Taylor goes on to sing, and I didn't want to come down. I thought it was just goodbye for now. So I didn't want to come down. Does that mean come down from flying with Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
think
want to come down, or
so.
come down from
Those
this high
magical
that we were on?
moments. Yeah.
Both. Also
Yeah.
come down back to reality,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back to planet Earth. We're up here flying in this pixie dust with this idea that we'll be together one day, and then I need to just come back down.
Yeah, and yeah, hey, we dated. It was fun while we were young, and I thought it was just maybe a goodbye for now, a little break. Let's go live our own lives, do our own thing, and come back together. And then, oh, this guy's still not matured.
Yes.
Promises,
Mm.
promises.
Yeah.
She goes on to sing, you said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. Said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. Said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. Words from the mouths of babes, promises oceans deep.
Gosh, that's so good.
But-
I know.
Never to keep, oh, never to keep. So he was going to say, hey, babe, give me a few years. Hey, we'll date again. It'll be fine. We'll do it. And then words from the mouths of babes.
But
He never grew
also-
up. Yeah, I promise I'm going to grow up. I'm going to change.
Yeah.
Also, in Peter Pan, he would come back to Wendy every spring or like spring cleaning or something that was, spring cleaning time. He would come back every year or said, I will be back next year for springtime cleaning and see you, but he wouldn't come back. And eventually he would, and Wendy has already turned off the light. She has a kid. Well, now he's doing that to her kid. Wendy had 2 daughters, and he came back 3 different times. Never came back for the woman that he said he was going to. He said, oh, I promise I'll be back. I'll bring you to Never Neverland. But by the time he'd come back, there'd be another daughter. And then he would take that one, make the same promises, and then never come back again. So it was a cycle that happened 3 different times. So some people wonder if that's why you said you were going to grow up and come find me. Said you were going to grow up. She says it 3
3
times.
times.
Okay.
Because
That makes
it's all
sense.
3 of them.
Wow.
And
That's
Okay.
interesting.
women making the same mistakes over and over, even though should know better. I've been warned about it, but I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like just the repetition of it just makes you can hear the desperation in
Said
it.
you were going to grow up.
Then you
you're
were
gonna
gonna
come find me. Said you. Yeah, she's keeping repeating it.
Like
It's not
even-
happening. He still
right.
hasn't changed. He's giving me more empty promises.
Yeah.
Cycles going on and on.
And
Yeah.
she knows that. Like she knows that he didn't grow up and he didn't come find her, but you can still hear that desperation in her voice of like wanting him to.
Yeah.
And man, promises ocean deep but never to keep. Is that going to be on my
I
board
know.
of favorite lyrics and
I
her whole
know.
canon?
Just
I know.
to have the measurement, and that ocean drowned her in grief.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that line so much.
Yeah.
Taylor continues to sing. She's starting a new verse here. Are you still a mind reader, a natural scene stealer? I've heard great things, Peter, but life was always easier on you. It's almost like, man, you get to do whatever you want, and you
Yeah.
have zero consequences.
I mean, yeah,
And that's true of a male pop star or rock star.
patriarchy. Yeah.
100%. And we've heard her say this before because, it was easier on you than it was on me. Like, both as a woman and as Taylor Swift, it will always be harder for her to be romantically connected to someone, no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah. Life was always easier.
On
Life is
you.
always easier on whoever Taylor's dating. It's
Yeah.
hardest on her.
Right.
But for, a rock star, life's always easier on them. They can date around. They
Yeah.
can make mistakes.
Of course. They can.
They
And
can be
they're-
immature.
And you know what? And they're applauded for it.
Right.
Yes.
But God forbid, a woman has a hobby.
But life was always easier on you than it was on me. And sometimes it gets me when crossing your jet stream, we both did the best we could do. Underneath the same moon in different galaxies.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that part.
Yeah.
Because they're both in the world, but living just completely separate lives and making different choices under the same moon in different galaxies.
And I feel like it's just a sad, beautiful, tragic way to say that they both tried, but they needed different things. Underneath the same moon, but different galaxies. Like, maybe she needed him to love her in a way that he couldn't, and maybe he needed her to love him in a way that she couldn't. It's like they're underneath the same moon, but different galaxies. And also just to say, like, maybe they're just from different worlds, ultimately.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it's another reference to, like, cosmic love.
Yes.
Down
She was
bad.
down bad.
Down bad.
Interesting.
Yes.
Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Wasn't that a book?
Yep. It was a very popular book back in the 90s.
think so.
Yeah. Okay. And then Taylor continues by saying, and I didn't want to hang around. We said it was just goodbye for now.
And earlier she said, and I didn't want to come down because she didn't want to leave Neverland. And she said, I thought it was just goodbye for now. Now she's saying, I didn't want to hang around. I'm ready to grow up.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to live my life.
But
we said it was just goodbye for now. The first time, I thought it was just goodbye. So
Oh.
this is questioning, is this my fault? Now she's more in her, I remember this all too well.
Yes.
We said it was just
Yeah.
goodbye for now. So
Right.
she's no longer just taking all the blame for herself.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing to point out, yeah.
And then she's continuing to kind of get mad at this person. You said you were going to grow up and then you were going to come find me.
And you can kind of hear it a
She's
little
getting
bit.
a little
less desperation, more frustration.
frustration.
Yeah.
You said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. You said you were going to grow up, and then you were going to come find me. Words from the mouth of babes, promises, oceans deep, but never to keep.
But never to keep.
And then
Never to
The bridge.
keep.
The bridge. I still want a sound effect of something saying like, the
take
bridge.
me to the bridge.
To the bridge.
To the bridge. To the puente, if you will.
Surely there's something from like a war movie. To the bridge.
To the
Well, the
bridge.
air is
Or from
for, I'm
Star
sure.
from Starbucks.
Yeah, but that's
or
too
Starbucks,
easy.
Star Trek.
Too
They say
easy.
to the bridge.
Is it too easy for our sounder to be Taylor to be like, we've made it to the first
First
bridge of the evening?
Hmm.
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
To the bridge.
To the bridge.
And I won't confess that I waited.
But I let the lamp burn as the men masqueraded. I hoped you'd return with your feet on the ground. Tell me all that you've learned. 'Cause love's never lost when perspective is earned. And you said you'd come get me, but you were 25. And the shelf life of those fantasies is expired. Lost to the Lost Boys chapter of your life. Forgive me, Peter. Please know that I tried to hold on to the days.
To the days.
when you were mine.
What a
woman
bridge.
Who sits by the window is Turned out the light.
I think after we do our like post breakdown rankings, I think we should have a whole episode where we just rank the bridges
Ooh, great choice.
because
Of just Tortured Poets? Or of every, her whole discography?
2 episodes.
2 different episodes.
One that is just the Tortured Poets bridges, and one that is the whole discography bridges. Because Tortured Poets has
I'm writing this down because
nothing
I don't
but
wanna forget.
Golden Gate bridges.
Yeah.
You know, and even the real Golden Gate Bridge can't live up to
Mhm.
it. Yeah, I do think that this bridge is one of the most solid bridges across the album. So,
And in
Let's
this
talk
bridge,
about it.
she's continuing to speak about this. Will they, won't they get back together? We're wanting to, but our timelines just aren't at matching up at this
Yeah.
time. As the men are masqueraded, I'd hope you'd return with your feet on the ground and tell me you've learned.
and I do love how like when it starts with I won't confess that I waited, but I let the lamp burn. Like
Yeah,
I won't say it out loud,
but it happened.
but I know that I sat there waiting for you until the lamp completely burned.
Yeah, holding out hope.
Yes.
to the
For a
very end.
ridiculously long time, and I don't want to admit that to others.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
not
was
gonna-
hopeful. Yeah,
right.
I might have not outwardly showed that, but I did let the lamp burn
And
every night.
in a way, I feel like she didn't confess that until now. You know, like if they did have this situationship that lasted for about a decade with this back and forth, like she never really actually confessed to it until now.
I don't know. In Cardigan, she said, and you'd be standing in my front porch light, and I knew you'd come back to me. She was still hoping for that.
That is true.
And then, but we don't
But she
know
didn't- but she
that
didn't confess
She
it.
didn't confess it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And how frustrating, this is the reason we have this song, how frustrating is it to have this decades-long hope, and then when you are living in it in real life, you realize that this is not working. This
Yeah.
thing that I wanted for so long.
And then she gave everything.
Gave everything wanted. We schemed. We tried to sync up the timelines. Here we go. Let's give this thing a shot that I've been building up in my mind for so long. And it just crashes and
But I
burns.
let the
And it's
lamp
just, and you
burn.
let the lamp burn. And you said you were going to grow up.
Yeah. You said you would come
You
back
said you were going to come find me.
Promise.
with your feet on the ground. Like you
Yeah.
would, it's time
that
now.
you'd be mature,
Right.
grounded.
And I love the line, because love's never lost when perspective is earned.
I kind of want that as a tattoo.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. I feel like that line could also encompass Taylor's discography.
Yeah.
You know, because in all of her music and all of her songwriting, that's basically what it is. She like writes about the lessons that she's learned due to giving her heart fully to people. And I just love that so much.
I love that. That's
That's a
so
great
beautifully
tattoo.
said. I wish I wouldn't have said tattoo in the middle of that, because what you had to say is so perfect. And
But
I'm
I
like,
think-
I want a tattoo of that.
Which is great. I think that would be a great tattoo.
Yeah.
Actually. And I also feel therapeutic in the, you said you'd come and get me, but you were 25.
Yeah.
So I have so much. Okay, I have a couple of things. So someone pointed out that they don't think that this song is really in reference to Maddie or Joe. Some people are back and forth. Like, who is it that she's referring to? Simply because she was with Maddie whenever he was 25 and he did come back. She was with Joe whenever they first started dating, 25. So someone was speculating, is this actually because of Harry Styles? Is that who she's been singing about? That she started in 1989 and has been singing about him ever since. That there's a song Golden from Harry Styles, and Taylor Swift sings about love is now golden. And she says, jump off of real tall somethings, just see you come running to tell you the one thing I want to tell you, but no. And is it over now? And out of the woods, I set you free, meaning I meant for you to come back to me. And they said the final piece of evidence in here that she's talking about Harry Styles, looking back and reflecting that this was the person that she actually wanted all along, was that Harry was Peter Pan in the Sign of the Time music video.
Oh yeah, he was flying around everywhere.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey, I feel like that's the same level of connection as the 1975 having a song called Lost Boys.
Sure.
Like that's same level of argument you could make. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see like who, because if you are taking that literal, that 25 years old, if that's the thing that you're focusing on, then it could mean other things.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, but interesting.
As I'm looking at these lyrics, Anna, you had said that they had a song called Lost Boys. When in the bridge she's singing "Lost to the Lost Boys chapter of your life." Lost Boys is in quotes. Quotes would be like a title of something. So is he lost in that early phase of his life? He can't grow out of that phase when he was singing Lost Boys, which is a quote. It's like a title of something. If it was just Lost Boys, like your group of friends, that wouldn't be quoted.
Yeah, and if it is the Lost Boys chapter of his life specifically, then yeah, it would be when he was really young.
And then Taylor continues to sing the chorus. You said you were going to grow up and then you were going to come find me. Words from the mouth of babes, promises oceans deep, but never to keep. And that is Peter.
Bella Browsing on Reddit pointed out that Peter is not on any of her 5 stages playlist, and that made them think that Peter is about Maddie because she kept waiting for him to come back to her since he was 25 in 2014, and she's finally turning off the lights on the idea that he will, putting it in the category of fairy tale. There is no acceptance or moving on because Peter Pan is fiction. It's not real.
Yeah.
Love that.
So in the connection back to Cardigan that Amy had brought up earlier, because the lyric in Cardigan is tried to change the ending, Peter losing Wendy, and here that is what actually happened, right? Peter did lose Wendy. Would you believe the theory that some of these songs from the anthology would be the third sister album to Folklore and Evermore because of the tie-in?
Yeah.
I ask you as our folklorian expert.
It's definitely got the feel. I feel that in this anthology.
Well, and she's also working with like Aaron Dessner. She didn't
Yeah.
work with him until Folklore Evermore, and so she's continuing to write these songs. These songs absolutely could have been written just after Evermore was written. You know,
The ideas are
those ideas, and she's just
feeding off of the originals.
Yeah, and a lot of Folklore and Evermore are just almost classic fairy tales in her mind, and she's singing about a fairy tale here. So maybe it was, and then other songs clearly came later. But absolutely, some of these could have been written during that time when she was in that stage, and could be.
Yeah, and it's very possible that maybe back then, before the Eras tour, if she was toying around with these ideas, some of these lyrics, whatever it may be, maybe she was planning on putting out a third sister album because there were hints to it, and then things changed.
But also
They
at the same time, when we just talk about her personal timeline, we think she was still with Joe at that time. So is she writing these super serious songs about someone she's not with at the time,
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
Or is that timeline so far off than what we assume it is?
Maybe, because we only know what.
Well, because Joe
What
had a
she
song on
chooses to
Evermore.
tell us.
So,
Oh, right, as a writer, I was like, you didn't.
yeah,
say
as a writer, he had a song or two, right?
Yes, I believe
We'll figure
so.
that out when we get to Evermore.
Bill O'Reilly on Reddit said their theory is that she wrote Guilty as Sin, Peter, Chloe, and Friends about Maddie
Chloe and Friends.
while she was with Joe, but locked them in a lowercase inside a vault until she broke up with Joe, hard launched Maddie, and then felt it was time she could release all of her Maddie songs. The public thought Maddie was a short fling, and she probably wanted to release the love and heartbreak songs about him, so she wanted to provide context of that to her fans. It would have looked weird for her to have love and rage-filled TTPD songs about Maddie if it was just a month-long fling. But now she showed us that they were so much more serious for a lot longer time than we thought. And it makes sense that this relationship would cause her to fall hard and fast and go down in flames the way that it did. So releasing TTPD set all the Maddie songs vaults free. She set all the Maddie song vaults free, and now she can finally move on from him. And someone else said, locked lowercase inside a vault. The lowercase songs on TTPD are LOML and I'm Gonna Get You Back. But then there's all of Folklore and Evermore.
Yeah.
Gold Rush says, my mind turns your life into folklore, your life, as in someone else's life, into the album.
It's
Folklore.
so interesting. I love that. I don't know.
That's why we need a documentary.
Yeah.
Let's manifest it. Light the candle.
Okay, let's listen to a couple of voicemails from our listeners. But first, let me remind you to join us in the Lobster Lounge, having so much fun talking to our lobsters and listeners in there and just sharing theories from them. So join us, station.page/13. You can enter into our giveaway right now to win the official Eras Tour book in honor of our girl winning the Tour of the Century. This contest is going to be going on until 4/19, the 1-year anniversary of Tortured Poets Department. So join us, station.page/13. You'll see on the side where you can enter in for our contest, and just leave us a note. Let us know that you're there, station.page/13. See you there. Okay, so from our Google voicemail, 689-214-1313.
Yes.
This one was just too funny not to play.
Seriously, guys. I mean, it's funny and all, but you gotta put the voicemail on. So, why am I calling? Ah, shoot. I'll just call back later.
I'll just call back later.
I'll just call back. Why am I calling? I'll just call back later.
She was so thrown off by the no
So
voicemail.
Taken aback by the no voicemail that we have mentioned many, many times. Decided to pull out of that phone call. But don't worry, she did remember what she was going to say.
Oh, good.
And Emily gave us a call back to tell us our game plan.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Emily. I am from Illinois, and I just listened to I Look in People's Windows. And I think, as an Evermore girly, you guys are really doing us a disservice. And I do think that what you need to do, because frankly, you're never going to get to Evermore, because by the time you get through this album, she's going to have re-released something, and you're going to want to start doing that. So here's what I think you should do. You need to start peppering Evermore in throughout. So maybe do 2 episodes of Reputation, Taylor's version, and then do an episode of Evermore. And then do 2 more episodes of Reputation, Taylor's version, and then do an episode of Evermore. That is it. Thank you. Goodbye.
I mean, it's not like we haven't done it before.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I will work that into my schedule. I'll put that in right after I upload our voicemail. Thank you so much for your phone call, Emily. We appreciate hearing from you.
All right, well, that does it for this episode of 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to us on right now. All the ways to get in touch with us are in the description of this podcast. And join us next time. We are hitting the home stretch. 3 songs until the very end of Torture Poets Department
Oh my
are
goodness.
left. And next time, we are going to be breaking down The Bolter.
Thanks for listening. The 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Subscribe for free and leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.